So, continuing on this masculine feminine card that I pulled out, 11 of Fire from my Dreams of Gaia deck. Such a beautiful deck, highly recommend. The art in there is just literally so fucking exquisite. And the messages are always so profound. But this card being so important to me and always confirming on my journey, me being a twin flame starseed here to bring forth cosmic balance between the polarities of the masculine and feminine energies, which is what New Earth consists and is built off. Old Earth was the distorted, wounded masculine, distorted, wounded feminine, toxic aspects of both, which was the Kali Yuga, the Iron Age that the collective consciousness had to experience and go through. And we're still in the beginning phases of the Golden Age as we co-create and build it as the architects, as the artists, as we're paint brushing from our soul. I like to say that it's like the hourglass. In the middle of the hourglass, it's like that phase through, like we're still pulling out of it, but it's up to us. As full disclosure, is already here vibrationally. New Earth is already here vibrationally, and so we're being assisted and guided at all times from Goddess God, Mother Father God, Mother Father Goddess, Mother Father Nature, and all of our benevolent extraterrestrials that are our higher versions of ourselves and soul aspects of ourselves. But it's like, you know, completely bringing it back to the present and bringing that harmonization and bringing that balance, and the importance of knowing the masculine and feminine energies because when those aspects within ourselves, when we're too much in one or too much in the other, too much of the left brain, which is masculine, too much of the right brain, that is evil and evil realities in the kaleidoscope bridge out to when we have too much of dogma or too much of the left brain where like nothing matters. It's like it has to be that balance of left and right brain, which is masculine and feminine. It was like, okay, left and right brain, and then like the right side of the right side is masculine of our body and the left side is feminine. Like, it's so super important. It doesn't matter what you identify in the physical, man, woman, or non-binary. We all are electromagnetic beings, electric being masculine and magnetic being feminine. And so when you know the attributes of both polarities, you can see how you're embodying and showing up. And it's to give yourself the grace when you understanding that of like, okay, like, oh, I was not showing up in this back then, like, it's all right, because that was the old paradigm and what we had to experience. But now we're choosing as we're creating new Earth, you know, for the souls who are not ready to make that shift, that it's okay, because you know, Earth is just a university in the multiverse. And so those souls who are ready to graduate and want to build with Gaia, we're going forth beautifully. And it is not to force or put upon upon souls that are not ready to move forward. It's only to show up on where you want to. It's honoring and following through with your own soul's mission and your own soul's journey, and aligning and connecting to the souls that are on the same path and journey and mission as you, and still honoring the other souls who are not. You know, all of us have our unique soul song orchestrating a symphony of the universe, but you want to be with the ones in the same sacred dance as you. And so continuing on the beautiful message of the 11 of Fire, and the key phrase is: put aside gender stereotypes. We are both masculine and feminine. Masculine energy serves to protect. Feminine energy serves to nature. Feminine energy serves to nurture. Nature too, though, because I mean, you know, that is fucking Gaia, is that feminine fucking force. Too much of one, not enough of the other. Time to evaluate and realign. Allow the energy to increase and ebb. Embrace the energy that best suits your needs. The 11 of Fire is a balancing and realignment card. It symbolizes the importance of balancing our masculine and feminine energies to remind us we are and always will be a mix of both. Our physical gender is irrelevant. The 11 of Fire asks that we look beyond gender stereotypes to how we respond and react to day-to-day experiences. On an energetic level, our masculine aspect serves to protect self and others, while our feminine aspect serves to nurture self and others. In a simplistic society, a typical male will embody a more masculine energy than feminine. They are characteristically more aggressive and forceful, but also very protective of those they feel are in need of protection. However, they are more about to use physical force and aggression to protect. A typical female, however, will embody more feminine energy than masculine. They are characteristically more passive and yielding, and while possessing the same desire to protect the vulnerable, they will generally use diplomacy and dialogue to determine an option that avoids conflict. So gender stereotypes are often one-dimensional and rarely accurate, especially when we are discussing masculine and feminine energy as opposed to men and women. It can become more problematic to assign specific attributes to either gender when there are many men who identify as female and women who identify as male. When it comes to masculine and feminine energy, we all have both, regardless of our physical gender or the gender we have assigned ourselves. And this energy is expressed in how we behave and react, and influences all that we do. Masculine energy is active, impatient, assertive, creative, aggressive, forceful, protective, logical, and analytical, controlling. I say analytical is like the logical, like trying to analyze a lot. I didn't know what it meant before, so like I was like, oh, okay. And then I learned, I was like, okay, like too much of the logical state, which is that left brain attribute. And controlling. Feminine energy is inactive, calm, retiring, receptive, passive, yielding, nurturing, emotional, intuitive, and allowing. Masculine energy motivates us to focus upon our personal needs and self, while feminine energy motivates us to think of others and their needs. Again, regardless of gender, a person who is energetic and proactive is embracing masculine energy, while a person who is calm and passive is embracing feminine energy. Neither is intrinsically good or bad, but if an imbalance is present, it can be evident in our actions and give rise to destructive behavior. An imbalance can occur when we have too much of one and not enough of the other. Too much of one without influence of the other can create a very discordant and destructive mix. But what is the right mix? This is not about having equal parts of both, but having a harmonious blending that is suited to your lifestyle and personal goals and needs. If you are not assertive enough, you may need to embrace more masculine energy. If you are overly assertive to the point where others are always intimidated by you, then considering embracing a little more feminine energy and soften your approach. An aggressive approach or method is sometimes required in order to break from the old and make way for the new, but aggressive methods don't always have to be violent. To be forceful is not always indicative of physical force being used. Masculine feminine energy should always be allowed to flow and ebb as it is needed. Flow and ebb as a secret dance. Like fire, flickering and dancing, you add less fuel if you want things to cool, and more fuel if you want things to heat up. Enough heat gives rise to creative, productive energy, but too much heat can burn both you and others. Cooling things a little gives rise to a nurturing warmth, but too little fuel and the fire can go out completely. The 11 of Fire symbolizes an opportunity to take a moment to evaluate your life and ask yourself whether you need to embrace a little more masculine or feminine energy in your day-to-day activities and relationships. Do you need to step up and be a little more assertive or proactive? Does something or someone need your protection? Are you not nurturing yourself or others enough? Are you being over analytical instead of heeding your intuition? Are you allowing impatience to get the better of you when your situation calls for calm and compromise? Are you choosing a path of inaction? And are you choosing a path of inaction when you need to embrace one of action in order to manifest the changes that you need? Which I love fucking goddess witch high priestess Mia Magic. She talks about in her book as well, intuition. That's her book is called Intuition, but she calls it intuition as in taking inspired action. So when your intuition is speaking to you to take inspired action on your intuition, it's called your intuition. I'm like, yes, your intuition, and fucking taking action upon our soul's guidance. And it's okay, like giving the grace of like in the moments that like, you know, you didn't before, like, because we're consistently coming back to the present moment for the eternal present and the now in the infinity loop. I like to say this in the infinity loop. We exist in the middle. It's my baby shadow black onyx, by the way. It's my protector. But so we exist in the middle of the infinity loop, and it's like when we're looping through timelines, and we need a recenter, we come to the middle, which is that balance. Pause for a moment, evaluate, and bring your masculine and feminine energies back into a harmonious alignment with your life and needs. So good, so important. I will continue also doing polarities on my Return of Divine Sophia book on divine quantum timing. But it's so important to understand the balance of where you're showing up and those energies within yourself to shift your reality on the outskirts. And that's how New Earth is being built, of the harmonization of both healthy aspects of each and coming into divine sacred union within ourselves that creates divine masculine, divine attributes of masculine and feminine energy, creates sisterhood, creates brotherhood, creates powerful community. Truly, it is the organic and the ways, the harmonious ways of creation. But as a collective field, we had to, in the Iron Age, Kali Yuga age, we had to understand the disharmony, and now it's time for harmony and balance as the yin and the yang. So I do want to touch up on the part of me explaining the kaleidoscope, because I know I speak really fast. So I was like, okay, let me go a little further details on that. But so like truly we are fractal spirits. And so it's like, shout out to fucking 𝓵𝓵𝓷𝓪. You know, we out here staying fractal. Yes, I fucking love him so much. Y'all should check him out on Instagram, because he is that motherfucking guardian of guardians, fucking sorcerer. But so yeah, so we're fractal spirits. And so in the kaleidoscope, you know, you're seeing like multiple mirrors and like reflections and like bubbles of like multiple arrays, you know, going on. And so whatever we're vibrating to, whatever we are unconsciously or consciously doing, it will create energy into the collective field to pull those realities in. And so when we're being too much in our left brain, where it's just like, okay, like the masculine logical, right, where it's like, okay, logical is like, oh, there's no spirit, you know, there is no soul, nothing matters, you know, not questioning, okay, there's all these systems in our body but no creator, and like, oh, got all this beauty in Gaia but nothing matters. So then like nothing matters, so it's like nothing matters in our relationships, you know, like not caring for another, not caring for the earth, you know. And so that creates evil realities and like entities to be able to come in and latch onto that and make that a reality, darker dystopia. And too much of the right brain, right, is too much of dogma, too much of religion, saying, okay, like one way is the only way, or my God is better than yours, or my messenger is better than yours, when it's like, okay, honoring the messengers, the ascended masters, you know, ascended master Jesus and his goddess Mary Magdalene, for his message was portrayed so distorted, where it's like, oh yeah, Jesus is the only way, when it's like, no, like, yeah, he was that Prince of Peace, and he was out here fucking conjuring fucking sorcery, like power of fucking death, but he was reminding us of the Christ light that we have within, of the Buddha light, the Krishna light, you know. It's the return of the it's the return of Christ, being that return of Christ consciousness, Sophia Christ consciousness, Buddha consciousness, Krishna consciousness, you know, as the goddesses and gods. But the masculine and feminine energy is not just like, oh, the one holy father that's like damning you, you know, telling you like this is the only way, like, you know, and like putting men against above women, that like, oh yeah, it's superior race, with this distorted story of Adam and Eve, when it was like Adam and Eve were not the first they were not the first beings on earth. There were not the first beings on earth. There was ancient civilizations that were created before that, and Lilith was Adam's first wife, and because she was the dark feminine of like not taking no fucking man, no submission and for some bullshit, you know, Eve was coming into the story of the submissive, like, oh yeah, like whatever you say, Adam. And it's like, nah, bro, like that dark feminine, like divine feminine, it's like fully wild in her expression, and divine masculine honoring that and protecting that and honoring each other and their fullest wild expression with no judgment or control. So yeah, so like having that balance of the right and the feminine, and the right and the left in between, where like, you know, like there is like that logical with the spiritual, it's the science and the spirituality like together, like it's multi-dimensional, you know, but truly like going how I said already, like the physical and the spiritual, for truly the spiritual realm rules over the physical, because it's all about the inner first that comes into the physical, but then it's that sacred dance. It is that sacred dance. And you know, out here, like as we were building and co-creating New Earth, it's New Atlantis and New Lemuria and New Egyptian timelines, and forgiving and like clearing out the traumas and atrocities that happened before. You know, in Atlantis, the magicians took too much of the started to get possessive with control. And what did that do when you start abusing and not being a benevolent force? As I said, brings forth evil reality, so it opens the portal for demons and entities to come in and to latch and to then start taking control, you know. So it's like we called that in those timelines. And Lemuria, it was like the feminines got distorted using our sacred sexuality and sex magic, and started manipulating the masculines, and like that calls in fucking black goo entity Lucius and all this stuff. So it's like really reclaiming all of that and honoring, saying, forgiving all our past versions, and like, you know, we have to go through this collective, and now we're bringing forth the highest timelines and bringing forth highest the highest love, the highest true love, true sisterhood, true brotherhood, true loving community, you know, and like so many attributes, like sacred sexuality, and like, you know, like we're naturally sensual beings, that is a power of creative force, and that's not something to be shamed upon or demonize. All these things that were like, they used our natural knowledge, our organic knowledge against us, so that we wouldn't be tapped into that. But they, you know what I'm saying, like they, you know, at the same time is all part of source, stuff for us to like learn from and be like, okay, you know what, like that's not a reflection of what we're choosing now. And like, thank you for learning, thank you for showing us that part of the, you know, old kingdom, you know, and like, you know, and that's not my heaven on earth. So it's like heaven on earth. What is your heaven on earth? How are you creating your heaven on earth consciously? It's all about being as conscious creators, you know, because if we're not being conscious, we're really just putting forth in that, like bringing forth unconscious entities to feed off our energy. And then as soon as we're conscious creators, it's like boom, like, you know, nothing can touch us, because we are in that balanced state with our God, goddess, Christed, Buddhist, Krishnic light that we all have within ourselves, and connecting to the magical essence that it is, the magnitude and magnificence of our eternal soul, our eternal presence. It is a motherfucking honor, and it is such a beautiful, and like just like every word that cannot even be described, and divine, you know, like just like majestic, but like fucking just all of it. But yes.